So if you are in your luteal phase and you're wondering what to have for dinner, I have a really good one for you. So first, your luteal phase is the roughly 2 weeks leading up to your period, and in this time of month you need a lot of nutrient dense food. So we're going to be making a French onion pot roast, which combines two amazing things for your luteal phase that are going to support you and your hormones during this time of month. This recipe has the main ingredients as beef. It's got both the chuck roast and beef broth, and then also onions, which are two really powerhouse foods for this time of month. First, starting with the beef, it is packed with iron, which is going to help so much with fatigue during this time of month, especially the second half of your luteal phase leading up to your menstruation. And beef is also such a great source of vitamin B12 and B6. Those B vitamins are so essential for you if you're trying to combat PMS symptoms like mood swings, anxiety, that nervous system kind of stuff that some of us really struggle with, me included. So beef is going to be amazing for those symptoms. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but your luteal phase, you can have a blood sugar being less stable. So eating really high protein and fats can help stabilize your blood sugar so you're not feeling so up and down with your blood sugar levels and keep you more even and stable. And then if you feel like you are hungrier during this time of month, you are not going crazy. Your metabolic rate is actually slightly higher during this time, so you are burning slightly more calories. So eating something really nutrient dense like beef is going to help with that. It also has zinc, protein, it actually has natural creatine, so that's going to help with energy too. So all around, beef is such a good nourishing thing to have during this time of month. And now for the onions. I feel like onions are so underrated. I feel like they are always kind of in the background of every dish, but we are bringing them to the front. They're going to be a main ingredient here and a main flavor, and I'm so excited. I love onions, and knowing that they're good during this time of month is even better. So I'm like, okay, I can get my onions, and they have a purpose. So they are incredibly rich in antioxidants. They're also anti-inflammatory, and they actually help with hormone production. So all around an awesome food to be eating right now. But without getting too into the details of how it works, onions are amazing at helping your liver process hormones. So it's gonna help process any extra estrogen you have in your system, which is great because that will help you reduce those nasty PMS symptoms like breast tenderness, maybe bloating, and also irritability. And then similar to the beef, onions are also anti-inflammatory and also help with blood sugar stabilization. Lastly, I just learned this, but onions are actually a prebiotic, so they're gonna help your gut during this time of month. Also, this is a time when your immune system is suppressed a little bit, so having a healthy gut microbiome is really gonna be beneficial for you overall. So hopefully I've convinced you to try out this pot roast recipe, or at the very least, have some beef and onions during your luteal phase, and so we can jump into the recipe now. Here's everything we'll need to make our pot roast. So we've got a 3.2 pound, I believe, chuck roast here. I've got 2 onions, garlic cloves, arrowroot starch, pepper, salt, parsley and thyme, avocado oil, coconut aminos, red wine vinegar, beef broth, and bay leaves. First thing we're gonna do is coat our beautiful chuck roast with salt, pepper, thyme, and arrowroot starch. So I'm gonna start by just putting a nice layer of salt directly onto the meat, and the same with pepper. Now that we got it seasoned with salt and pepper, we're gonna coat this with a little bit of arrowroot starch. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons, and then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of parsley. And I'm just doing this in a shallow dish so that we can just put the roast in there and coat it. And 2 teaspoons of thyme. And then we're just gonna give that a little bit of a stir. And since my pot is quite a bit smaller than my roast, I'm going to cut this in half. and then coat it separately. So now we're gonna slice up our onions very finely. Very thinly slicing them. I'm slicing our onions. I love onions so much, but this is my least favorite part. I always end up in tears, but they're done. And in an oven safe hot Dutch oven, whatever you have, do 2 tablespoons of avocado oil over medium heat. And once that's heated up, we will throw our chuck roast on here to brown it. Okay, it's time to brown the roast. I'm doing two batches since the roast was quite a bit bigger than my little pan here. Do about 4 minutes on each side and then pull them out and then do the next one. And then I'll put them both to the side. That looks so good. I'm gonna pull off the last piece here. And then reducing that to low. Pour in all the onions. And we are gonna soften those for about 8 minutes. And then 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos we're gonna toss with that. Toss the coconut aminos with the onions here and let those cook down. And then I'm also going to add a little salt here. While those just finished cooking down. You can tell I'm not afraid of salt. I'm loving the way these are looking. So I'm gonna just push everything to the side here. Turn the stove off and add back in the meat. I really hope everything fits. I need a bigger pot. Okay. Go. Oof, now for the liquid. I'm kind of scared. Slight change of plans on my end. You can keep the recipe the same, but usually I would put a tablespoon of red wine vinegar in with my 2.5 cups of beef broth to go over the chuck roast when it's cooking. However, for some reason I can't open it. I don't know what's wrong with this lid, but it's a fresh bottle and it will not open. So instead I'm gonna do 1/2 cup of red wine and just hope for the best. Luckily I had this in hand. So I'm just gonna add that to here, bringing the liquid up to 3 cups. And there you go. That just happens sometimes in the kitchen, especially in my kitchen for some reason. Something's always missing. So we've got our beef broth and red wine. Oh my gosh, that looks oh my gosh, that is super full. And last but not least, I'm just gonna put 3 bay leaves on here and then put the lid back on. And then we're gonna put this in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes to start. So the pot roast has been in there for 30 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm not gonna open it, but it's cooking, and we're gonna turn it down to 300 degrees, and I'm gonna let that go for 3 hours. So if you're trying to have this for dinner, make sure to start plenty early. Time has finally come, 3 hours later, to check on our hot roast. So good. gonna temp it. It should be 185 to 195. Please be that temperature because I don't want to keep waiting. We went over that. Hopefully it's not too overcooked. Here is the pot roast out of the oven. It looks so good. It smells even better. So if you can see, the liquid is pretty liquidy. So we are going to add some arrowroot starch to thicken that up. I've got this little mixture here. This is a tablespoon of water and 2 teaspoons of arrowroot starch. You could also use like cornstarch if you wanted to, or if that's what you had on hand. And then we're gonna add this in while it is still really hot. Give it a little mix there so it'll thicken up a little bit. Oh, no. I just got it on my skirt. Hey, I need an apron. After adding our arrowroot starch, I'm just letting this kind of boil a tiny bit on the stove just to get that to thicken up a little. It's definitely already thickened a bit. That's probably fine. And then I'm gonna let it cool a little bit and shred that apart. That is the pot roast recipe that will hopefully nourish you during your luteal phase leading up to your period, and I hope that you're able to try it. I know it's a little time consuming, but definitely worth it. Please let me know if you try this one and what you think in the comments. So thanks again. See you next time.